Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today let's see how to replace your chain and sprocket kit without breaking any link and do a chain adjustment at your home with ease. Using a 22mm socket, start removing the axle nut and correct the washer. Using a hammer, tap in the axle inside and correct the adjuster plate. Now using a 6mm Allen key, remove the two bolts holding the mudguard assembly. In my case, I have installed my number plate on the mudguard and the number plate lamp is been connected. I'll be removing the socket connection for the number plate lamp as shown in the video. Now using a 4mm Allen key, remove the two bolts holding the right hand side mud flap cover. Once this is done, using a hammer, tap the axle on the opposite side and slide it out of your bike. Now take out the spacer and remove the caliper out from the swing arm. Using a flathead screwdriver, make some space on the clamp that is holding the brake hose. Now remove the brake hose as shown in the video. Don't let the caliper be hanging, you can place it on the foot peg as shown. Next, remove the chain from the rear sprocket and remove the wheel out of the bike. Now on the left hand side, remove the two Allen bolts in your case, and in my case I am removing the two 10mm bolts holding the left hand side mud flap assembly. Then using an 8mm socket, remove the two bolts on the left and the right side of the mud flap. Once this is done, you can remove the entire mud flap assembly out of your bike. Now remove the exhaust from your bike, and I have explained it in one of my previous videos. I'll be leaving the link for that particular video in the I button above. After loosening the 12mm bolt below the silencer and removing all the four 10mm bolts on each side, wiggle the muffler and remove it out of your bike. Next, remove the axle nut cover using a flathead screwdriver as shown in the video on both the sides. Now, place a 19mm socket attached to an extension as shown in the video on left hand side. You will need another 19mm socket on the right hand side too, and as shown in the video, use a ratchet attached to the 19mm socket and carefully remove the axle nut as it will be pretty tight. Once you crack the nut loose, remove the nut from the axle. Now remove the three 8mm bolts holding the front sprocket cover. Once the cover is out, using the same 8mm bolts, crack open the two nuts holding the front sprocket lock pin. To avoid rotation of the sprocket, place your bike in any of the gear. Twist the lock plate and remove it out of the sprocket. Now remove the sprocket as shown in the video. You can see the condition of the front sprocket. All the teeth have become very slim and the sprocket has already bent. Using an 8mm Allen key, remove the 8mm bolt holding the suspension to the swing arm. Now tap the swing arm bolt out and using a screwdriver, make enough clearance on the swing arm to hold it properly. Now gently wiggle and slide the swing arm bolt out of the chassis. Now your swing arm is free to move out of your bike. I'll be replacing this chain guide as it is pretty old and has a major sign of wear and tear. This is a new chain guide that I purchased from Bajaj, and you can see the costing and the part number as shown in the video. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, remove the screw holding the chain guide from both the sides. Once both the screws are removed, you can remove the old chain guide out of the swing arm. After cleaning the swing arm, now let's install the new chain guide. While installing the new chain guide, you have to make sure that the protrusion on the swing arm has to go inside the chain guide as shown. Once this is done, what I like to do is add an extra washer before inserting the screw and tighten both the screws evenly. Here I am using a lithium based grease to lubricate both the bearings of the swing arm. If your swing arm bearing has too much of play, consider replacing it. This is a new set of chain and sprockets that I purchased from Bajaj, and this particular one has 14 teeth on the front and 39 teeth on the rear. If you people are looking forward to increase the acceleration of your NS, you can purchase RS200 sprockets which has 43 teeth in the rear, but I'm sticking with the stock one. Now let's take the chain out and remove it out of its cover. This chain is pre-lubricated from the factory and you need not apply any additional lubricant on the chain. Now open up the chain and place it on the chain guide as shown in the video. Now place the swing arm on its position and apply some lithium grease on its axle and spread it across evenly. Once this is done, insert the axle into the chassis and slide the axle in to lock the swing arm onto the bike's chassis. Now hand tighten the nut as shown in the video. Align the suspension to the swing arm and insert the 8mm Allen bolt and tighten it using an 8mm Allen key. Now clean the inner surface of the front sprocket cover using a clean piece of cloth. Now take out the new sprocket from its cover, and just to show you people, let's see how it is compared to the old one and how thick the new sprocket teeth is compared to the old one that I took out from a bike. As mentioned earlier, both the front sprocket is of 14 teeth and you people can confirm the same here. Now put the chain on the front sprocket as shown in the video and slide the sprocket onto its output shaft. Now insert the front sprocket lock plate and align its position to match up with the two holes in line. Now insert the both 8mm bolts and tighten it in a crisscross pattern. Once this is done, put back the sprocket cover and tighten all the 3 8mm bolts that you removed before. Now, to replace the rear sprocket, first you have to remove its lock in order to remove the 12mm bolts that is holding the rear sprocket onto its hub. Using a flathead screwdriver and a hammer, as shown in the video, straighten the lock plate which is holding the nuts. Now in a crisscross pattern, loosen all the 12mm nuts as shown in the video. Now remove all the 6 nuts followed by 3 lock plates. Once you are done with this, you can remove the old sprocket out. Now this is a new 39 teeth sprocket, and you can see the old one is in pretty good condition, but anyways, we have to replace all the sprocket and the chain together as a set. Now align all the 6 holes onto the bolts and insert the new sprocket onto the hub. Insert the 3 lock plates that you've removed before and tighten all the nuts in a crisscross pattern. Align all the flat sides of the nut so that when you fold the plates that is supposed to lock the nuts, it should be facing on the flat side. Now again, using a flathead screwdriver and a hammer, fold back the flaps and lock the nuts on its plates. Repeat the process for all the 6 nuts, and once this is done, you can put the wheel back onto the bike. Place the chain on the sprocket as shown in the video. Apply grease, in this case I am using lithium grease, onto the axle and spread it evenly. Place the axle onto its place and lift the tire with other hand to align the axle and the bearing of the hub to match in its place. Once you get the alignment right, now on the other side, after aligning the spacer and the caliper, tap the axle completely using a hammer. Now insert the adjuster plate followed by the washer and hand tighten the axle nut. Using a 22 number socket, slightly tighten the axle nut just enough to freely move the adjuster plate. Now check for the chain free play, and in order to reduce the play, just rotate the adjuster plate on the left hand side by tapping it with a hammer as shown in the video. Once you set enough slack on the chain, check for the marking on the adjuster plate on the left hand side and set the same number on the right hand side too. If you don't do this, your wheel alignment will go for a toss. After adjusting the right hand side plate, if your chain is too tight, just go one step back on the left hand side adjuster plate and repeat the same process on the right hand side too, and tap the axle to move it forward. Once the slack is properly set and both the adjuster plate are in sync, tighten the axle nut completely. Now fold back the hose holding clamp and insert the mud flap and the silencer and tighten its respective bolts. Now finally, tighten the swing arm bolt to its maximum limit. Fill in some grease onto the swing arm bolt socket. This will prevent corrosion or rust formation on the swing arm bolt. Once this is done, close the swing arm socket with its cap. I hope this video was informative enough. If you people like this video, do consider subscribing to the channel.